Jesus, I still can't sleep at night. My hands won't stop trembling. I've lost 15 pounds in 3 weeks. You think I'm exaggerating? Look at me. My clothes hang off me like I'm some goddamn scarecrow. And my hair. Christ, it's coming out in clumps. The doctors say it's stress. But they don't know what's happening. They haven't heard the voice. They haven't felt its presence crawling under their skin like 1,000 insects. I never told anyone this story. Not even my therapist. She'd have me committed faster than you can say padded cell. But you asked why I stopped playing music. Why I flinch every time someone turns on an electronic device. Why I can't even look at an amplifier without breaking into a cold sweat. Well, here it is. The unvarnished truth. It started innocently enough. A whisper. A crackle. The kind of interference you'd expect from a cheap guitar amp. I bought this vintage Blackheart Diabolic 30 years ago when my Christian folk rock band Salvation's Edge was touring the Bible Belt. The irony of the name didn't escape me, especially given what happened later. I was living in Ravens Hollow then, a forgotten little town in northern Vermont where the winters are as cold as a witch's heart and twice as long. My life was empty. After spending my 20s on the road with the band, I'd settled for a soul-crushing job at Footwear Emporium in the local strip mall. The kind of place where dreams come to die alongside the smell of synthetic leather and foot odor. Music had been my salvation once. My connection to something greater. But after the band's messy dissolution, let's just say mixing religion, money, and creative egos is like throwing matches into gasoline. I couldn't bear to touch my instruments. They collected dust in the corner of my one-bedroom apartment for nearly a year. Then came the loneliness. The crushing, all-consuming kind that makes your bones ache at night. I'm not good with people. Never have been. Put me on stage with a guitar, and I become someone else. Someone confident. Someone worth noticing. But take that away, and I'm just invisible. That's why I picked up my Obsidian Eclipse guitar again. Not for the music. For the attention. For the chance that someone, anyone, might see me. Pathetic, I know. But isolation does things to a man's mind. The first time I heard it, I was practicing Amazing Grace with a blues progression. The irony doesn't escape me now. Nothing holy came through that amp that night. It started as a faint whisper beneath the notes. Like someone talking from the bottom of a well. I adjusted cables, checked connections. Nothing helped. I figured it was radio interference, so I ignored it and continued playing. The next morning, I'd forgotten all about it. But that night when I plugged in again, it was waiting for me. Isaac. My name. It whispered my goddamn name. The voice was like sandpaper over broken glass. It had this wetness to it. Like whoever, whatever, was speaking had too much saliva in its mouth. Welcome to WKRL, 666 on your mortal dial. Its laughter made my skin crawl, a sound like bones breaking in slow motion. Hail Abaddon. He awaits below, in darkness eternal. I yanked the power cord from the wall. But the voice didn't stop. If anything, it grew louder. Do you think electricity is my tether, Isaac? How quaint. I existed before your kind discovered fire. My heart hammered against my ribs like it was trying to escape. Sweat poured down my face even though the room had suddenly grown ice cold. My breath came out in visible puffs. You're wasting away, Isaac. Your talent. Your potential. Your flesh. Look at your hands, they're meant for greater things than selling shoes to the mindless consumers of Ravens Hollow. I looked down. My fingertips were bleeding. I hadn't even noticed I'd been digging my nails into my palms. I can give you everything. Fame. Fortune. The adoration of thousands. A willing companion to warm your bed. All these things and more, Isaac. All I require is acknowledgement. The amp fell silent. I stood there, paralyzed, wondering if I'd finally lost my mind. Sleep was impossible that night. Every time I closed my eyes, I saw flashes of things no human should see, visions of flesh melting from bone, of endless dark corridors lined with eyes that followed my movement, of a massive presence lurking just beyond perception. In the morning light, rational thought returned. Sleep deprivation, stress, maybe even carbon monoxide from my ancient heating system. There were plenty of explanations that didn't involve supernatural entities speaking through guitar amplifiers. I called my old friend, Gabriel, who ran 7th String, the local music shop. "Sounds like you're picking up radio interference," Gabriel said when I explained. "Happens all the time with tube amps." "Bring it in, I'll take a look." Relief washed over me. A technical explanation. A fixable problem. Gabriel's shop smelled of wood polish, old paper, and the peculiar metallic scent of new guitar strings. He'd been in the business for decades, his fingers permanently calloused from years of playing and repairing instruments. When I set the amp on his workbench, his expression changed. Something flickered across his face. Recognition? Fear? It was gone before I could be certain. "You said you've had this for how long?" he asked, running his fingers along the worn edges of the cabinet. "About 10 years. Bought it used in Nashville." Gabriel nodded slowly. "There's something odd about these Blackheart amps. Especially the Diabolic model. There were rumors." "Rumors?" He hesitated, then shook his head. "Nothing. Industry gossip. Let me check the wiring." Gabriel plugged in the amp and tested it thoroughly. It worked perfectly. No strange voices. No unexplained interference. Just clean, warm tube sound. "Maybe I was just tired," I said, embarrassed. Gabriel's eyes never left the amp. "Maybe. But Isaac, be careful with this thing, okay? Some instruments have histories." I should have pressed him for details. I should have left the amp with him, or better yet, thrown it into the nearest landfill. But hindsight is always perfect, isn't it? That weekend, desperate to connect with another human being, I decided to perform at the Hangman's Daughter, a dive bar that hosted open mic nights. I hadn't played in public since the band broke up, but the crushing loneliness outweighed my anxiety. The place was half empty. A few regulars, some college kids slumming it, and a woman with hair the color of fresh blood sitting alone at the bar. She caught me staring and smiled. My heart skipped. She was stunning in that dangerous way that makes you think of car crashes and falling from great heights. When my turn came, I played Hallelujah, the Leonard Cohen version, not the sanitized covers they play at church. The crowd responded well. I felt alive again, electric with the connection between performer and audience. Then I saw her approaching the stage, her eyes locked on mine with an intensity that made my mouth go dry. In that moment, with her walking toward me like a vision from some fevered dream, I decided to play one more song. Something to impress her. Something with more edge. I broke into the devil's right hand. The crowd was with me. I was flying, high on adrenaline and desperate hope. And then, "Foolish little man," the voice crawled out of my amp like a centipede made of sound. "Playing at rebellion while your soul withers inside you." The music stopped. The crowd grew silent, confused. They couldn't hear it. The voice was for me alone. "She's waiting for you, Isaac. The one with hair like hellfire. My gift to you. Take her home. Take her to bed. She'll fulfill every dark fantasy you've been too afraid to admit even to yourself." I stumbled backward, knocking over the microphone stand. It hit the floor with a screech of feedback that made everyone wince. But even through that electronic shriek, I heard it laughing. "You can't escape me, Isaac. I'm in the wires. I'm in the current. I'm in the very air you breathe." The red-haired woman was at the edge of the stage now, concern etched across her flawless features. "Are you okay?" she mouthed. I fled. Left my equipment behind. Drove home like the hounds of hell were nipping at my heels. That night, I dreamed of her. Of us together. Of things I won't describe here. I woke up drenched in sweat, my sheets stained with. Christ, I can't even say it. But the worst part was finding strands of long, red hair on my pillow. Hair that wasn't there when I went to sleep. The next day, I called in sick to work. I couldn't face people. Couldn't trust my own mind. I paced my apartment like a caged animal, jumping at every creak and groan of the old building. My phone rang. It was Gabriel. "You left your amp," he said without preamble. "I've got it at the shop." "Keep it," I said. "Or throw it away." "I don't want it back." Silence stretched between us. Then, "It's speaking to you, isn't it?" My blood turned to ice. "What did you say?" "The amp. It's speaking to you. Offering things. How do you?" "You're not the first, Isaac. There was a guy before you. Marcus Sullivan. Brilliant guitarist. He owned that amp for 6 months. Started hearing voices. Said they were teaching him new techniques, new songs. His playing became unnatural. Inhuman. Then he started changing physically. Lost weight. Hair fell out. Skin turned gray. I glanced at the mirror across the room. My own reflection looked gaunt, haunted. Patches of my scalp were visible where hair had fallen out overnight. What happened to him? I asked, though part of me already knew. They found him hanging from the rafters in his garage. Left a note. It just said it wants more than I can give. I felt sick. Why didn't you tell me this before? Would you have believed me? Besides, I wasn't sure. These amps were hand-wired by a man named Elias Black. He disappeared after producing only 50 of them. There were rumors that he discovered a way to channel something through the circuits. Something old. Something hungry. "It's just an amp," I said, not believing my own words. "Is it?" Gabriel's voice dropped to a whisper. "Did you know that 3 of the previous owners committed suicide? 2 others disappeared without a trace. One was institutionalized, still babbling about voices in the wires. Why would you even keep something like that in your shop?" "Because I've been trying to understand it. To neutralize it, somehow. I thought I had. I replaced components, rewired circuits, but if you're hearing it too..." "I'm getting rid of it," I said firmly. "Burning it." "No." Gabriel's shout made me jump. "That's what it wants. It wants to be free of the physical constraints. Fire won't destroy it, it'll just release whatever's bound to the components. Then what do I do? Bring it back to me. I've been researching. There might be a way to contain it properly." I agreed to meet Gabriel that evening. But first, I needed a shower, food, anything to feel human again. As I stood under the hot water, trying to wash away the lingering sensation of invisible fingers on my skin, I heard it. Not from an amp this time, but from the bathroom speaker, a cheap Bluetooth device I used to listen to podcasts. "He's lying to you, Isaac. Gabriel doesn't want to help you. He wants what's inside the amp for himself. The power. The knowledge." I froze, soap running into my eyes. He's been searching for years. Collecting us. Binding us. Using our voices to fuel his own petty ambitions. "Shut up," I whispered. "Check his basement, Isaac. See the truth for yourself. The others are there. Trapped. Suffering. Soon, you'll join them." I turned off the water, my mind racing. Was it telling the truth? Why would Gabriel have kept such a dangerous object in his shop if he knew what it was capable of? But if not Gabriel, who could help me? I drove to 7th String in a daze. The shop was closed, but lights burned in the back room. I knocked. No answer. "Gabriel?" I called, peering through the darkened glass. "It's Isaac. I'm here about the amp." Nothing. The door was unlocked. I hesitated only briefly before stepping inside. The bell above the door remained silent. Someone had disabled it. Gabriel? The shop floor was deserted. Instruments hung on the walls like sleeping bats. In the dim emergency lighting, their shadows stretched across the floor like reaching hands. A thump came from below my feet. The basement. Check his basement, Isaac. See the truth for yourself. Against my better judgment, I found the door leading downstairs. It was ajar, a slice of harsh fluorescent light spilling up the steps. Gabriel? Are you down there? Another thump. Then a moan, low, guttural, barely human. I descended slowly, each step creaking beneath my weight. The temperature dropped with every foot. By the time I reached the bottom, I could see my breath clouding before me. What I found there haunts me still. Gabriel sat cross-legged in the center of a circle drawn in some dark substance I didn't want to identify. Around him, 7 amplifiers, identical to mine, were arranged in a perfect heptagram. Candles burned at each point, their flames an unnatural blue. And the sounds, dear God, the sounds they were making. Not voices anymore, but a harmonized drone that vibrated in my chest cavity and made my teeth ache. Gabriel's eyes were rolled back, showing only whites. His lips moved rapidly, forming words in no language I recognized. Blood trickled from his nose, his ears, the corners of his eyes. On the wall behind him hung photographs. Dozens of them. I recognized Marcus Sullivan in one. The others must have been previous owners. All wore the same haunted expression I now saw in my own mirror. Gabriel, I whispered. His head snapped toward me with unnatural speed. When he spoke, it wasn't his voice. It wasn't even human. Isaac, you've come to join our choir. I ran. Blind panic propelled me up the stairs, through the shop, into the night air. I didn't stop until my lungs burned and my legs threatened to buckle. When I finally looked back, 7th string was engulfed in blue flames that cast no light on their surroundings. They consumed the building in absolute silence, no crackling, no roar of destruction. Just quiet, methodical annihilation. Sirens wailed in the distance, growing closer. I should have waited. Should have told the authorities what I'd seen. Instead, I fled. That was 3 weeks ago. I moved to a new town. Changed my name. Got rid of every electronic device I owned except for this burner phone. But it found me anyway. Last night, I woke to the sound of static coming from the emergency alert system in my motel room, a system that shouldn't work without power, but there it was, the red light blinking in the darkness. Did you think distance would save you, Isaac? That I couldn't find you? I'm everywhere. Every device. Every circuit. Every wire that carries electricity is a pathway for my voice. I've stopped running. There's no point. Tonight, I'm going to the crossroads at midnight. That's what it told me to do. Bring your guitar, it said. We'll make music together. Music that will crack open the gates of perception. Music that will tear the veil between worlds. I know what's happening. I know what it wants. But I'm so tired of fighting. So tired of running. And sometimes, in the darkest hours before dawn, I find myself wondering, what would it be like to surrender? To let its music flow through me? To become the instrument instead of the player? Maybe I'll find out tonight. Maybe I won't come back from the crossroads. If you find this recording, if you're listening to my voice, stay away from vintage amplifiers. Especially the Blackheart Diabolic. And if you ever hear a voice offering you everything you've ever wanted through the static and hum of electronics, turn it off. Smash it. Run. Because some music was never meant for human ears. And some instruments play you. Have you had a similar experience? Feel free to share in the comments below. This story is purely fictional. Any resemblance to real events is purely coincidental. If you enjoyed this story, please like and leave a comment. Your support means the world to me.